us too. So, oh God, that sounded bad. I'm just going to be the finishing act. Okay. So if you haven't already, please pick up a copy of the vehicle. They're on that back table. I've got some copies up here. They're completely free. You don't have to pay anything for them, so why not? And tell all your friends too to come pick up a copy. We'll have them probably in the English department office in Pullman. And if you want a copy, you can get a copy today or whatever. If we run out, just let me know. I'll get your contact information. So as Nikki mentioned, this is my story that I submitted to the James P. Johnson contest, and it won. I wrote it actually for a creative nonfiction class, and I was thinking a lot about what I wanted to write about, and I'm an English major, so I've sat through a lot of classes in which we read a lot of literature about flowers and cigars and other stuff that isn't sex, but is really about sex. And so I was thinking, I kind of want to flip that on its head. I kind of want to use sex to talk about something else. And so the title of my essay is called Faking It. I'm struggling to feel sexually empowered while making small talk with my best friend's new beau at the personal lubricant display case. We're both acting like this situation is perfectly normal. Like all friends carpool with the adult store on Thursday night and assist each other with purchases and go out for dinner at Chili's afterward. You think you'll go with silicone or water-based? He asks me, picking up a bottle labeled Liquid Sex. I remind myself that I have needs and desires. There's nothing wrong with having them, and he should respect that. This is fine. I'm not uncomfortable. Probably water-based, I tell him. Easier to clean up. I instantly regret my words, sure that I let him believe that I'm the Jackson Pollock of masturbating. I watch his face, waiting for that look of disgust to twist his features, anticipating at least a raised eyebrow. But nothing happens. It's cool. Where's Heather? I ask him, hoping he'll leave me alone long enough to go look for his girlfriend. He shrugs. I tell him I'm going to go check out the vibrators and don't stick around for his reaction. Now, I've been around penises before, but the wall of dildos is daunting. There are any number of lengths, girths, shapes, materials, and colors available. The categories they've been separated into, intended to be helpful, make me even more wary of letting my gaze wander. I spend too much time in the couples section before I realize I'm sifting through a selection of double-sided dildos and strap-on woodies. I back away from the wall, scanning the room to ensure that no one sees me standing here. I make eye contact with a guy standing in line for the viewing booth, and we exchange words via our panicked expressions. Me? I'm not gay, I'm just lost. Him? I'm not a pervert, I just don't have an internet connection at home. I make a lap around the store, trying not to look at anything, but there's so much to see. I wind up back at the wall of vibrators, no less bewildered than I was just a few minutes earlier. I don't know what I'm in the market for, I'm new to this game. Does wanting a seahorse tickler to stimulate your clitoris mean something different than having a butterfly do the job? I don't have an answer, but I'm sure that the people around me will judge my libido based on my purchase. I need to get this right. I'm tempted to grab the first average-looking thing I can find and make a dash for the checkout counter, but I'm faced with two obstacles. First, there is nothing that appears average to me. Every disembodied penis hanging before me looks alien, unlike anything I've learned about in health class, and thanks to that textbook, I could now confidently diagnose gonorrhea. Next, my friend Liz has joined me. Liz, the epitome of experimentation and sexual freedom. She asks me what purchases I'm considering. None of them, I want to tell her. All of them, I also want to tell her. Instead, I shrug and she asks me what I like. She's trying to be helpful, but she's asked me such a loaded question. Again, I shrug. She starts talking about how clitoral versus G-spot, she starts talking about clitoral versus G-spot stimulation, throwing out statistics about how 75% of women don't orgasm from vaginal penetration alone. She pulls the box down off the rack and tells me how the object she's holding is gonna make my toes curl. This one's got a couple different speeds, which is nice when one's just not doing it for you, she tells me. The jelly coating is as close to the real thing as you're going to get. These beads here in the center will rotate and massage the walls of your vagina, so you'll be getting stimulation from all angles. Best of all, this little guy right here will tease the clitoral hood every time the device is thrust inward. She points to a miniature rabbit figure. After hearing this, I'm convinced my ears are bleeding. But I feign composure. I have no reason to doubt her, but I take the box from Liz and, following my natural consumer sensibilities, look for more product information on the back. The package reiterates everything Liz has just told me in 6 different languages. You should work here, I tell her. She takes my words as a cue to show me some more options, and as she's doing so, my best friend Heather and her boyfriend stroll up alongside us. I'm suddenly ashamed of the bright purple jumper in my hands. I want to throw it at Heather for bringing him along, or maybe at him for agreeing to come along. Mostly, I'm mortified, because in this instant, I realize that my companions are here for the promise of a good story, and I'm just pretending that's why I'm here. I can count the number of times I've had sex on both hands. I only need 2 fingers to represent the number of partners I've had, and I have to ball up my fist whenever I'm asked how many of those times I experienced any semblance of an orgasm. I wasn't having bad sex, I just wasn't being honest. In the beginning, it was a matter of an experience, learning how to navigate a body other than my own. I had so many distractions. Focusing on my own pleasure didn't seem like an option. I was happy to be kissed tenderly and held tightly. When he asked if I enjoyed it, I told him the truth when I told him yes. I got closer and closer with every try. Even in failure, I was pleased with my progress. I took my small victories and encouraged him with a white lie so I could still fall asleep in his arms. I was almost there once. Just once. It was the last time we were together. Our breathing was in sync, our chests rising and falling in unison. My nerves were electrified, every touch intensified, though I'd begun to feel numb. I put my mouth to his ear and whispered, "I'm coming," just as Cosmo told me to. And then it was over. 2 hands pushed my hips out and away from his body, damming the current flowing between us. I kneeled on the bed as I watched him sink his face into a pillow as every muscle in his body tensed. When he finally relaxed, he rolled over and put a hand to his brow, exhaling. He sat up and moved to kiss me. "Why did you do that?" I asked before his lips could reach mine. "Do what?" "You cut me off." He looked at me quizzically. "I was scared to finish inside you. You're wearing a condom." "I've never seen him before. Why does it matter this time?" He asked the question in earnest. That boy sat on the edge of the bed and stared at me with his face all scrunched up, trying so hard, so very hard, to understand why I was slipping my underwear back on and groping around in the piles of his dirty laundry on the floor to find my shirt instead of nestling into the crook of his arm. He stared and he stared, saying nothing, just blinking. I wanted to flick his furrowed brow until his eyes grew wide with understanding, shame, or anything, but the perplexity they already held. "It just matters now," I told him, climbing back into the bed. He covered me in his comforter and he held me until he thought I was asleep. The next morning, I kissed him goodbye, and by the end of that week, I boarded a plane to London. I was studying abroad for a semester and wouldn't be back for 4 months. I knew that 4 months away from the person I loved meant 4 months of abstinence. The person I loved, however, either didn't know that or didn't love me. For 15 weeks, I roamed the grounds of an English manor house, making mental notes of everywhere I wished I were having sex. Hidden passageways, remote gardens, library stacks, the conservatory, in front of the fireplace in the dining room. For 104 days, I fantasized about the second I'd be reunited with my lover. I slept with an arm and a leg slung over an oversized pillow as if it were his body, and was disappointed every morning when it hadn't miraculously morphed into his head, chest, arms, and legs overnight. I craved his touch and needed his warmth. The anticipation of sex was more awful than its absence. When he told me he'd been with someone else while I'd been away, I didn't break down. I don't think I said anything. From looking at me, no one would have ever suspected how battered and bruised my insides were. I only knew because I couldn't finish my Taco Bell. I gave up on the burrito halfway through, partly for fear that I couldn't keep it down, but I think that mostly I just wanted to abandon something too. You want this? I asked him, gesturing to the remainder of my meal. He raised an eyebrow but accepted my offer. After swallowing a mouthful of beans, rice, and cheese, he asked me, "Why are you ripping up the lid on your cup?" The plastic from the lid, shredded into tiny triangles, littered my lap and the floor of his car. "It's just something I do," I said. What I should have said is, "Because we're together for the first time in months and our clothes are still on, because I drove 2 hours to see you and you probably had your hands on another girl as I was en route, because I'm stuck in your car and have to look at you, not looking at me, because I love you, but I hate you. I hate you, I hate you." At the very least, I should have cried. Instead, I went for a walk with him around our university's campus. I didn't want to go, but he asked me to walk with him, and so I did. I so wanted to credit him for his decency, but I knew our civility was a lie. Neither of us was the person we appeared to be. He was a prick, and I was a basket case. We held our composure even when it was put to the ultimate test. We met a blonde making her way across campus as our walk was coming to an end. I recognized her face from the profile picture of a girl who'd been posting to his Facebook wall more and more frequently in the past few weeks. He smiled shyly at her as she brushed past me. She waved. I waved back. "Was that her?" I asked him before she made it out of earshot. "Yeah," he sighed, "that's her." We walked in silence back to my car. Before I left, he opened his arms and asked for a hug. I obliged because I knew that's what people were supposed to do when they parted on good terms. It made sense to me to bear the hurt, to hide it away, to lie about it. My weakness was best kept a secret. I thought it best to mask the pain and suffer in silence then, just as it seems fitting that I conceal my shame and discomfort in a room full of sex toys and people who know how to feel pleasure. When I'm fine, I'm only pretending. I'm at the register with a bottle of lube, a vibrator, and a 4-pack of AA batteries because I don't want to fake it anymore.